Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulonding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm reception to our studio here in Kolikunda. This is Star TV News with me, Maimuna Fadera. In the headlines tonight, Ministry of Tourism intends to open 2020 to 2021 tourist season in October, said Minister of Information. Exploring bridges and roads under construction in Basse. Bundung 6 Junction Ward launches community lightening project. AfriMed staff calls for immediate resignation of hospital administrator and finance manager. People of Igbo Town refute alleged attack on police. Heavy windstorm vandalizes houses in Kolikunda. On the international scene, Sudan rebels agreed key peace deal to end 17th-year conflict. Italy picks up 49 people in need of aid from Banksy-funded boat, while Kenya's Rift Valley lakes are going through a crisis. Well, those were the headlines, and now the news in details. As part of the efforts to revive the Gambia's vibrant tourism industry, the Minister of Information, Ibrahim Asila, said in his 4th season press conference that the Ministry of Tourism and Culture has announced that it intends to open the 2020 to 2021 tourist season in October this year. Well, Dado Cham tells us more.
He said that the Gambia's hospitality industry, like in all other countries around the world, has been severely affected by the outbreak of the coronavirus. Therefore, the Minister of Tourism has been working with critical stakeholders and the Ministry of Health to put in place strict health and safety guidelines, which is already set with those in the leisure and hospitality industry, particularly hotels and restaurants. Similarly, the Gambia Tourism Board is continuing its activities in raising awareness on Destination Gambia to potential travelers worldwide. The following activities are being implemented. The Gambia Tourism Board, in collaboration with tourism stakeholders, in working on the production of a destination video entitled Nice to Be Safe. The reason for the production of this video is to build the confidence of tourists and visitors alike as the country gears up for the opening of the 2020-21 season. In airport preparedness, the minister said a team including Gambia Tourism Board, Gambia Hotel Association, and Tourism and Travel Association of the Gambia has been visiting the airport to ensure its readiness for the 2021 tourist season. UNDP support fund for cash transfer to about 6,400 tourism industry. 6,400 tourism industry staff and vendors is currently on the way, and Africell is now disbursing the funds to beneficiaries, he added. Eco-lodges. Construction works on new eco-lodges in Bara, Sutoma, and Kunkili are well on the way amidst a bit of slowing due to the new surge of coronavirus in the Gambia. The Ministry of Tourism and Culture has also indicated that several airlines will be bringing in tourists to the Gambia this year. For example, Gambia Experience plans to start operation on 29th September with 3 flights a week, 2 from Gatwick with 300 seats and 1 from Manchester with 180 flight capacity. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Dado Chan.
The Upper River region is experiencing massive infrastructural developments which are meant to connection businesses and ease services to people of Basse and its neighbors. However, this multi-million-dollar project are championed by the Gambia government and the People's Republic of China. Modu El Baji files in this report.
The road and bridge project for Basse Koina Road, Basse Wuli Bridge, Fatoto Pasamas Crossing, Chamoy and Suduwal respectively, constitute the first major infrastructural development projects of the borough administration. However, these projects are expected to elevate the lives and livelihood of the people of Basse, both socially and economically. Basse Wuli Bridge is 250 meters of length, supported by continuous beams with pre-stressed concrete pillars. The National Assembly member for Basse Kantora constituency, Bileji Tonkara, described the projects as pivotal to the people of Basse and its surrounding regions, especially in the aspects of communication and transportation. In the past 55 years, URR had not been fortunate to register such projects. The Honorable for Kantora added that when these projects are actualized, it will expand economic activities in Basse. He also outlined some of the challenges the people of Basse endure when it comes to transportation.
Pregnant women from Wuli, Yerobawal Hospital down to Basse, there was really a great challenge in terms of referrals of patients, pregnant women and children, businesses. So that has really increased in terms of transport fares in that region. We have seen a skyrocketing prices of transportations, in terms of transport costs going from Wuli, Pasamas down to Basse. And we have seen numerous people who lost their lives accidentally, whom in normal circumstances wouldn't have really lost their life. But they lost their life due to the poor road networks, due to the deplorable conditions of those roads. Before the persons reach at the health center, the person nearly lost his or her life. It's applied also on pregnant women. When they conceive, if they are to put to bed, it's really a challenge. Some of them would even deliver in the vehicle or on the road due to the terrible nature of the road. So for Basse, it's like a dream come true for them. And if you go to Fatoto N, that is in my constituency, Kantora, that is a bridge connecting Fatoto and Pasamas. And interestingly, there is a social amenity there, that is the Fatoto Health Post, the health center there. So it was a nightmare to have a referral from Fatoto cruising via Tumanna down to Basse as the only health center in that region, including Tumanna and Kantora. So the two constituencies normally benefit from the health center. And to access that health center is always a nightmare. So the road has been in deplorable conditions. Even for, that is for health sector. Coming to the economic importance of the road, there are markets and lumos that normally operate within the sub-region. But we've seen that because of the poor condition of the road has really resulted in terms of businessmen trying to lose hope and confidence in the markets in that area.
Mr. Tunkara extended gratitude to the stakeholders of these landmark projects, especially the People's Republic of China and the borough administration, for connecting the people of Basse to the other parts of the country.
When a politician or a president or anybody in authority goes out and promise anything to the public, it becomes a policy statement. So those policy statements, we as electorate have to hold them to account. Those accountability are one of these things. That when you come next to ask for our vote, we'll have to audit you. We have to make sure that you are accounted for your statement that you made to us. And for Basse, I think is a dream come true. We will also like to thank each and every frontliner, right from the regional governors, project implementers, able-bodied men and women who are there in this whole struggle to make sure that this dream come true.
Honorable Tunkara vowed to continue advocating in salvaging his people from the challenges they face. Moreover, these projects will avail the people of Basse the opportunity to serve as a center of trade in the sub-region. The foundation stone for these projects was laid by His Excellency President Adama Barrow on 15th December 2018, and these projects came as a result of grants from the People's Republic of China. For Star TV, I am Modu Elbaji.
The Bundung 6 Junction Mauritanian Ward Development Committee, in collaboration with Empire Furniture Company, on Saturday launched a lightening project aimed at providing light within the ward. Maria Madem reports.
The project is implemented to install 65 lighting units within the Bundung 6 Junction Mauritania Community Ward with the aim to provide light at each compound gate. The project was first implemented in 2018 when they lighted up cemeteries, police stations and car parks within the ward. Honorable Suleiman Jame, Councillor of Bundung 6 Johnson Ward, described the project as a life-changing one for the community as it serves as security to help easily detect illicit acts.
This project is called Community Lighting Project. Basically, it's just here to change the life of the people, to give us security and also to boost the economic activities of people within the community.
Councillor Jame further thanked their collaborators and his community members for their utmost support towards the community's development and urged other stakeholders to emulate the kind gesture.
Thank our Ward Development Committee very much for everything and the commitment and the dedication that you have for your community. Because here in Bundung 6 Johnson Ward is a unique ward, as my secretary always said, because we are all dedicated and committed towards the development of our people. And this is what is expected of us, and we are appealing to other companies or other potential stakeholders to come on board to support this community lighting initiative. I call it initiative because this is an initiative from Bundung 6 Johnson Ward. And our intention and our dream is to see this light across the country.
Mamadou Sanyang, Mauritania Sub-Ward Committee Chairperson, said that the project will serve as a security tool for the community as it will reduce the crime rates within the ward. He added that the light provided is unique and economical. Sanyang also urged philanthropists to help the council in developing its communities. Mamadou Gueye, on behalf of the beneficiaries, thanked Empire and the council for the great initiative and urged the people to take ownership of the project as well as take good care of it. He also appealed to the government to render support to the council as it is already playing its part to promote development. Recently, electricity shortage has become a major problem in the Gambia, but with the team lightening the community, Bundung 6 Johnson Mauritania Ward is in a safer condition. Maria Madem, reporting for Star TV News.
The staff of Afrimet International Hospital earlier today went on a sit-down strike, calling on its finance manager, Sanju Kumar, and its hospital administrator, Modu Sise, to resign from their post. The staff made several demands and stated reasons why the sit-down strike happened, as well as why they want the immediate resignation of Sanju and Sise. They also demand the immediate refund of 25% deducted from their monthly salaries. Jacqueline Koli was there, and this is her report.
Sanjo must go! How we go! Justice for the staff!
Abdullah Job, who spoke on behalf of the staff, said that there was a recent deduction of 25% from their salaries, despite most of the staff objected to it. He stressed that Sanju has failed as a finance minister in timely payment of monthly salaries, her poor attitude towards her staff and clients, blatant disrespect to the general staff and their welfare, and that she lacks both communication and staff management skills, which is evident of the dissatisfaction of the workers under her.
The other point we want to buttress on is the immediate resignation of Sanjay Kumar, the finance manager, due to the following reasons. One, he fails as a finance minister, as a finance manager rather, in timely paying of monthly salary, cover shifts and public holidays. This is evidenced by extremely late payment of salaries during the Tobaski period. She has a poor attitude towards client and the general staff. She shows blatant disrespect to the general staff and their welfare. This is evidenced by her action in cutting 25% of salaries, even after majority of the staff failed to give their consent for it. She lacked both communication and staff management skills, which are evidenced by dissatisfaction of staff working under her.
Yes. Sanjo must go! Sanjo must go! Sanjo must go! Sanjo must go!
These, among other reasons, were the main reasons for their sit-down strike. Another point they buttressed on was the immediate resignation of the hospital administrator, Modu Sise, as they were heard chanting, Sanju must go, Cisse must go.
List of demands we have and expect to be met if the hospital wants us to go back to work. 1. Immediate refund of the 25% deducted from our salary illegally and unlawfully, and it was done forcefully.
Yes! Yes!
Yes! 2. Immediate resignation of Mr. Cisse, hospital administrator, due to the following reasons. 1. He fails in his primary duty as an administrator, which is to maintain a cordial working relationship between the general staff and the management. 2. He is responsible for building an atmosphere of mistrust between the management and the general staff. This is evidenced by conflicting messages he put on memos. 3. He shows no regard to staff welfare, which includes stoppage of straight duties and significant reduction in leave encashment. Another point is, he has no respect for diplomacy. This is evidenced by his handling of this situation from the beginning. To buttress on this point, he has rejected our letter that we wrote to him for us to negotiate the terms that can lead us to go forward. If that diplomacy was done, he would not have reached at that level. We will not be standing here today.
The angry staff is set to continue on the sit-down strike if these demands are not met. They protested in front of the hospital building with banners that had the caption, Sanju and Cisse must go or we go, with other two that had, Operation We Cannot Work with Sanju, Sanju must go, and Operation We Cannot Work under Cisse's administration. The staff also complained that they have to be paid risk allowances considering the presence of the global pandemic in the Gambia. They complained of not being given personal protective equipment until after COVID-19 cases were confirmed in their hospital, and that included some members of staff. Those infected were not compensated. After a closed-door meeting with the management of the hospital, immediately after the protest outside the hospital, Abdullah Job, representative of the staff, had this to say.
Yes, we have hope that they will answer to some of our demands, although the other demands is challenging and they are requesting for some time. Yes, like for our administrator and the finance manager, for them to be relieved of their duties, that is a bit challenging to the CEO, to the management. So they need some time to think about the situation and settle that down. So that is why, because they are saying that they are also on contract and their contract have to be respected. So we actually on that as of now.
Notwithstanding, the staff will continue to have the negotiation with the management and promise to keep the media posted. Jacqueline Coley reporting for Star TV News.
The community of Igbo Town reacts to the allegation that they were resistant and attacked the police and curfew patrol duties, which led to the arrest of 12 people, including the imam of the area. Well, Omar Job has more.
The commotion came amid the pronouncement of another 21 days of curfew on Thursday, 27 August 2020. The police arrested some people whom they alleged to have broken the regulations. Speaking to journalists on the ground on that night, ASP Jeng, the commanding officer of the patrol team, said that as they were on their normal duty to make sure the curfew regulations are adhered, they encountered some people trying to fight them. I found people sitting here and I asked for the owner of the machine and they told me he was inside. When I spoke with him and asked why he did not close because it was after 10 p.m. and there were more than 12 women in the workshop without wearing face masks, he said that he was misled by the time frame. I then asked him to close for us to take him along because the coffee did not start on that night. That was the time people started to come and I sent them away. Some left while the others still stood there. All of a sudden, we had music playing around that environment. We then went there to ask them to stop because it was late and we were in coffee. That was the time they started resisting and shouting at us with insult. They stoned us. One stone landed on my feet. That was when I commanded my people to shoot the rubber bullets to disperse them. They then brought out cutlass and sticks to attack us. When I called for backup, they all ran away. Then we entered the compound and started arresting them. The victims see the information as misleading. For them, nothing like this happened. Speaking to Star TV, Marisanyang, a victim, said that she was mercilessly beaten before the rubber blades they fired hit her on the face and she fainted.
I was at our neighbor's house that night. I even ate my dinner there. So my child was asleep. That was the time I went to prepare the bed before coming for him. On my way entering our compound, I did not know that there were police outside. Before I realized anything, they started beating me. Then I ran away. When I entered our compound, they continued beating me till I fell down. That was the time my brothers intervened and told them that I was a woman. How could you beat someone like that? Then the chaos started. They fired the tear gas. I ran to enter the house. Before I could reach my father's house, they continued firing till the bullet hit my eye, then I fainted.
Binta Jame, a witness who was later arrested, said that the police beat her daughter from outside till she entered the compound where she fell. That was what led to the chaos.
When the paramilitary entered the compound, they did dangerous things. My daughter went to the neighbor's compound to take her child. That was the time they chased her and started beating her till she entered our compound. They were still on her. So that was the time I started shouting, and my sons came and told the police that she was a woman. In fact, they couldn't be beating someone who entered her compound already. By then, Mary fell and she was crawling to her dad's house. As the chaos started, they fired the tear gas and we all ran inside the houses. Then they left. When they came back, they started arresting us. By then, I was inside my house. They knocked the doors with force and even broke my door. They pulled me out with insults. That was when they took us away.
Masi Sanyang, the elder in the compound, who was also arrested on that night, had this to say.
I was praying inside the time they came to our compound, and they later told me that they will take me with them. I asked them for what reason, but they did not tell me anything. I could not understand what prompted my arrest. I don't have the strength to resist, so I decided to adhere to their dictates. I also pleaded to them because by then I did not know whether my daughter was alive or not. But despite all that, they took me away. The police officers alleged that the boys were armed, but that was not true, and even my son, who is a prison officer, came out to talk with them. They took him along with his wife. The police officers had problems with the youths on the street who they said ran into our compound. But there are porous roads in this compound. We do not fence our compound, so someone can enter here and pass through to another place. But the police officers said that all the youths live in our compound, which was not true. They even opened fire and injured my daughter.
For Star TV, I am Omar Diop.
Last week Saturday, in the early hours of 5 a.m., the residents of Kolikunda at Newsroom sustained injuries as a result of heavy windstorm, which led to the collapse of a house in which people were sleeping, Modu El-Baji reports.
As many were observing the Islamic New Year last week Saturday, strong wind of sorrow blew in the minds of the people of Kolikunda. However, this disaster has made the inhabitants of Kolikunda houseless and lost most of their belongings as the building collapsed on them and their belongings. Meanwhile, 3 people were injured. The landlord of Kolikunda, Babunja Koli, said that the incident happens around 5 a.m. whilst his tenants were asleep, and they tried to rescue them by lifting the fragments of the buildings of the children who occupied the bed and other valuable materials.
This disaster occurred just yesterday at night around 5 o'clock in the morning. We are all asleep, but the the room fell down onto my cut here. They are my tenants, so at night we wake up, we try to help them so that they can have their life, but it was very tough. So by the time we heard them shouting when the blocks were on top of them, so we tried to take out all of them under those blocks. So most of us, we have wounds in our legs and our side. Even my mom was here and my small kids. Yeah, so we helped them to take out of them, all of them in this room. This room is a mud block house.
The children slept under a mosquito net, which made it difficult for them to be evacuated from their beds. Those who came to their rescue ended up tearing the bed net in order to save them, but their mother Umifai was there with them and even sustained injuries as he tried to protect them from the precipitating fragments of blocks. The mother of these children expressed gratitude to the entire residents and the neighbors for their support during the course of the rescue process. Other speakers like Sali Jame and Issa Jallo called on the National Disaster Management Agency, the general public, civil service organization, and philanthropists to support them as they are currently faced with accommodation and some health problems. Encountering such a natural disaster during this lockdown is a big challenge for the family, because having a house where they will stay safe to avoid contracting the virus during this pandemic is a big challenge, especially to poor families. For Star TV, I am Modu Elbaji.
Well, those were the local stories. We will be back with the international news after the short commercial break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company, Gosh Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gosh Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gosh on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gosh Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.goshglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh.
Welcome back after that short commercial break, and we now look at the news beyond our borders. Sudan rebels agreed to keep peace deal to end 17th-year conflict. Sudan's main rebel alliance have agreed on a peace deal with the government aimed at ending 17 years of conflict. Official news agency SUNA said on Sunday, the deal mediated by neighboring South Sudan is set to mark a new start for the country. Al Jazeera's Heba Morgan reports from Khartoum.
Nearly a year after the start of talks, Sudan's transitional government and the opposition coalition, the Sudanese Revolutionary Front, are on the verge of signing a peace deal. The administration made ending conflicts across Sudan its top priority, and it's hoped this will help achieve it.
We're glad that we managed to achieve a milestone regarding achieving peace in Sudan. We know there are other factions that are yet to sign, and we hope there will be another round to negotiate with these groups. Peace is the most important thing we have for the transitional period, and without it, all the talks about democratic transition, economic development is not possible. So we see this as the first step to Sudan's transition.
Leading up to this deal, agreements have been signed by other groups that make up the Sudanese Revolutionary Front, each representing a different region in Sudan. The groups, some armed, oppose the previous government of Omar al-Bashir, who was overthrown in April last year. They say their regions have long been marginalized. The new deal will give a role in the transitional government and hand over more power to local governments. It also paves way for the formation of a transitional legislative assembly. The deal, mediated by South Sudan, would also restart Sudan's 39-month transitional period.
We affirm the commitment of South Sudan and Sudan's journey to peace, because Sudan peace is South Sudan's peace. There are still 2 more groups that are yet to sign a deal, and we will continue on the issue of peace until there is a comprehensive peace in Sudan. We don't want any more war in Darfur.
Negotiations to end the conflict in the western region of Darfur has taken the longest. The war there began in 2003 and has resulted in the deaths of 300,000 people and the displacement of 2 million. The forces of the armed groups will be integrated into the Sudanese army. Reparations will be paid to those affected by the conflict, and those displaced will be allowed to return home.
We've been in these camps since 2004. We want the conflict to end so we can go back to our harvest and to our ancestral home. But we've not been properly consulted on the deal that's taking place or represented, and so we're concerned it may not hold.
The deal is not the first attempt at peace in Sudan's conflict zones, but Sudan's transitional government and the Sudanese Revolutionary Front say this time there's political will to make it last. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Khartoum.
Italy picks up 49 people in need of aid from Banksy-funded boat. 49 refugees and migrants who were rescued from the Mediterranean Sea last week have been picked up by the Italian Coast Guard and brought to the Italian island of Lampedusa. The Louis Michel, which is funded by the British street artist Banksy, had issued the call late on Friday, saying its seaworthiness was compromised after rescuing 219 people across 2 days. Al Jazeera's Charlotte Bellis reports.
After radio silence from the Italian Coast Guard, on Saturday they responded to calls for help, transporting 49 migrants from charity vessel the Louise Michel to the island of Lampedusa. There were 32 women, 13 children, 4 men and 1 body, an unidentified migrant who failed in their dream to start a new life in Europe. They had been on the Louise Michel, a search and rescue ship funded by renowned British street artist Banksy. Named after a 19th century French anarchist, Banksy painted it with a fire extinguisher and tagged it with a modified image of his balloon girl. It launched last week from near Valencia, but the 30-metre ship and its crew of 10 have been quickly overwhelmed. It came across nearly 90 people floating in a rubber boat on Wednesday, then 130 more off the coast of Libya. Eventually, with an overcrowded deck, they tethered life rafts to the ship and called Italy, Malta and Germany for urgent help, but received no assistance.
The reason that the Louise Michel was not able to move was because they were towing these 2 life rafts alongside to not overcrowd the decks too much and also to have a place for the dead body that was unfortunately found in that boat in distress.
As the drama unfolded, Banksy posted this on Instagram.
Gonna let it go. I'm selling for 860,000.
Writing, like most people who make it in the art world, I bought a yacht to cruise the Med. It's a French Navy vessel we converted into a lifeboat because EU authorities deliberately ignore distress calls from non-Europeans. He goes on to say, all Black Lives Matter. The UN says 44,000 migrants have crossed the Mediterranean this year. 5,000 have been rescued, mainly by charity ships. 500 have drowned.
There's a very dire, a very preventable and a very unacceptable situation going on in the Mediterranean right now. UNHCR is deeply, deeply concerned by the continued absence of EU-led search and rescue vessels.
The UN has called for Europe to do more as a whole, so countries like Italy and ports like Lampedusa don't bear a disproportionate load in the migrant crisis. Charlotte Bellis, Al Jazeera.
While Kenya's Rift Valley lakes are going through a crisis, thousands of people in Kenya have been forced to abandon their homes after a drastic rise in the levels of the lakes along the Rift Valley. Homes, schools, hospitals and roads are underwater. Environmentalists say decades of deforestation and this year's unusually heavy rains have contributed to the disaster. Al Jazeera's Catherine Soy reports from Lake Baringo, where the water has risen by around 12 meters in the last 7 years.
That's our boat on Lake Baringo in Kenya's Rift Valley. But this area wasn't always covered by the lake. Under its waters are hundreds of homes, some schools, clinics and markets, many thousands of acres of farmland, as well as several islands, all submerged as the water continues to rise at about 2.5 centimeters a day. Nongaseria Lenasiaku has recently moved to higher ground after her house was claimed by the lake. Her village was on an island that has been split into 3.
This island was whole and we could move around. Now the water has separated us from our relatives. I don't even have a boat to go to the other parts of the village.
People here say they started seeing the phenomenon in 2013. Since then, the water level has risen by up to 12 meters. Environmentalists say decades of deforestation, siltation, and unusually heavy rains this year are the cause.
This is a new village that was built a few months back after people were displaced by the floods. The water is again on their doorsteps and they will have to move soon. They tell us life is tough. They're dealing with the cold, mosquitoes, and other animals like crocodiles and hippos. Yet, they don't know where to go next.
Ahad's boy was recently killed by a crocodile. Several tourist hotels are also struggling to stay above water. This is the reception area of the lodge where we were staying. Beyond it was a car park. 6 years ago when we were here, the lake was about 500 meters away.
As you can see now,
the hotel next door is all gone. The manager shows us what remains of a one-story cabin that accommodated up to 7 guests, and a picture of what it used to be 6 years ago.
We had 4 of these cottages. We had another 4 bandas, and we had a very large camping ground over there, and this was sitting on around 10 acres piece of land.
This is a freshwater lake which hundreds of thousands of people depend on for their basic needs. It has no known outlet and is largely fed by rivers whose source is the Mao Forest, one of the region's most important water catchment areas. But government officials say people are destroying the forest through illegal logging and farming. Some people are suggesting building a canal for the excess water to flow out, but it's not clear what impact that will have on those downstream and the lake itself. For now, Nongeseria and thousands of other Kenyans who live here have to fend for themselves. They say at the rate the lake is rising, they might soon run out of higher ground. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Lake Baringo, Kenya.
And before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Ministry of Tourism intends to open 2020 to 2021 tourist season in October, said Minister of Information. Exploring bridges and roads under construction in Basse. Bundung 6 Junction Ward launches community lighting project. AfriMed staff calls for immediate resignation of hospital administrator and finance manager. People of Igbo Town refute alleged attack on police. Heavy windstorm vandalizes houses in Kolikunda. On the international scene, Sudan rebels agreed key peace deal to end 17th-year conflict. Italy picks up 49 people in need of aid from Banksy-funded boat, while Kenya's Rift Valley lakes are going through a crisis. Well, that's all for this edition of the news. Do enjoy the rest of our programs and join us tomorrow for more news. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful night.